Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. As you can see, we've got our trailer hooked up to our truck, and we actually just got our truck back yesterday from the shop. Big story behind that, but that's going to be on another video. But today we're going to go pick up a piece of equipment for the property, a piece of hay equipment actually, and I'm super excited about this. So let's load up, let's head to South Webster, Ohio to the tractor shop, and I'll show you what we're getting. We made it to South Webster, and we are actually down here in the lower lot, and let me show you what we're getting. And there it is. So we are getting an Enorossi 8-wheel V-Rake. I'm so excited about this because I know that this is really going to speed up our hay process. I spend probably 4 or 5 hours raking hay with our single-sided sunflower type rake. I know that the speed of being able to hook it up and then get it going to start raking hay is going to be so much faster, plus the width that you can rake with it at one time, and the fact that you only have to make one pass to make a windrow, whereas the other rake you have to make two. So this for sure is going to speed up the process at least by half of what we currently do. Now they've got the bat rake here by Enorossi, which is really cool. I like it. I like the high clearance and stuff down here. And then all of the wheels are actually on individual arms so that they can, move independently and follow the ground a little bit better. This one's a little bit more traditional. For our use, I think it's gonna work out really, really good. We got it loaded onto the trailer, but it was a tight squeeze. You can see we got the rim all the way over there, so it should be fine though. It's sitting on the trailer good. I maybe should have had him roll it on forward just a hair, just so that side rail wasn't so tight against the tire. We're on the way back home. Hopefully everything will stay on there good. The tires are definitely squeezed in tight between those rails, but if anything, that should probably help to steady it a little bit. So stick around, we'll take a good look at it when we get back to the house. Let's get it unloaded and check it out. One of the things I'm most excited about with this new rake is that in order to hook it up, you just back your tractor up here to your hitch, you drop your pin through it, and you hook up your hydraulic lines, and you're ready to hit the field with it. Whereas before, my hay rake actually was a 3-point. You had to mess with it to try to get it hooked up, and you had to have that rake sitting in a good area to where that you could get back to the pins and stuff on it. And if you got it out of whack a little bit, then it's like any 3-point implement, like you have to fidget with it and mess with it. And, and actually one of the pins was actually bent just a little bit on it. So that made it even more difficult to try to get that thing hooked up. I would hook up the mower and mow a section, and then a few days later have to hook the rake up. And each time you do that, you have to readjust everything. And it was taking like 30 minutes or so to get the rake hooked up and readjusted and then start raking again. There's still going to be some initial setup. I'm going to have to go through and make sure the raking wheels and everything are where they need to be. But once I've been messing around with this thing for a few minutes here, just kind of getting the feel of things and what parts and stuff move and what parts need to move. Just trying to get a little familiar with it. That way, whenever it's time to use it, I'll actually kind of know a little bit about it instead of trying to learn it while I'm using it. But I think I've got everything pretty much figured out on this thing. Adjustments and everything on it pretty much work the same way that the old sunflower rake did, or the 3-point hitch rake. These sides on this are pretty much the same. It's pretty much a sunflower rake but there's two of them, and it's set up, you know, to pull and do one pass instead of having to do one down and one back to make a windrow. There's a couple things that I've learned just raising and lowering this a few times. So if you decide you're not going to use your kicker wheel, there's actually a steel block that goes in here to block this hydraulic cylinder off, and that way whenever you raise and lower your side arms, then this just stays stationary pretty much and doesn't get affected, and your kicker wheel will just stay up in the air. But if you plan on using that, then you pull that block out of there, and as you raise and lower your arms, this kicker will also raise and lower along with those. Also, there's a label right here, says release before starting to work. And what that is, that locks this arm in, so whenever you raise it up, like it's right now, as you can see, the arm is pretty much standing straight up. But if you pull this out, it unlocks it so that it will free float. And of course, if you raise it up without this in there, that arm actually will just flop back. Everything will get loose over here with your springs and stuff. Before you raise this back up to transport mode, you'd want to come back here and lock these back into place so that this doesn't flip back on you. I'm gonna go ahead and lower this down so you can see how that works. Now we're actually sitting on a little bit of a tilt here, and it's got the weight kind of shifted this way, but if you were pulling this and the weight was kind of moving around, then it would probably just automatically just fall on over. But like I say, it's sitting here in a little bit of an angle, but all you got to do is come back, push that over, and it's ready to work right there. This is the part that needs to be released before you actually start pulling it. Slide that back out of the way. Now that this is unlocked, it lets this arm float with this spring, so as your ground changes, then this arm can freely move up and down with the terrain. So this thing actually will work 15.7 to 17.8 feet wide. So I think this Enorossi Caddy 8 V-Rake is going to work out pretty good for us. There's going to be some final adjustments that's going to need to be made once we actually hit the field with it, but I think everything's pretty close to ready to run right now. The only thing I may do is actually narrow this up just a hair, because the narrower this end is, the wider that it's going to get as far as the overall path goes, but it's going to bring it in a little bit tighter back here as it exits the rake. So I won't really know that until after I pull this thing for the first time. I can just kind of get this rough idea of what this opening measurement is, and then kind of go from there versus the pickup on my beller. We do have the kicker wheel here in the middle. Anything that's under the tractor comes out, this thing's going to catch that and take that off the ground and kind of turn that over. So this is going to rake and fluff pretty much everything up that we need and make it even easier for the beller to pick up. Thanks for following along with us today and going with us to pick up our new Enorossi Caddy 8 V-Rake. I'm so excited about the hay coming in and getting to try this thing out for the first time. It should speed our raking up tremendously. But for now, I'm going to get this thing folded back up, put it kind of in storage mode, so to speak. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.